Hey y'all, it's your boy Big Stu
and Kayla,
and welcome back to
Ballin with the Ballards.
Today we have a special mukbang video for you guys. And it's introducing a new segment that we have on our channel, which is Family Talks. Why don't you show them what we got to eat today?
So we went to Uncle Buck's, for those in the Tulsa Broken Arrow area. It's inside Bass Pro Shop. So Stuart got the brisket nachos.
That looks scrumptious.
And I got some alligator tacos that are covered in french fries, so they're kind of hard to see. But I'm pretty excited. I've only had alligator one other time, so. Shall we dig in before we continue explaining?
No.
I'm hungry.
You'll be alright. So, like I said, we're introducing a new segment. It's our Family Talk segment. And what that means is that essentially we're going to go over conversations that we have in our home and kind of shed light on some of those conversations with our viewers and you guys, our family. A topic that we kind of been discussing quite a bit recently is, the pitfalls of marriage and what can lead to those type of pitfalls. And so I was on marriage.com trying to figure out the top reasons why people get divorced, and in their list they had number one, they had infidelity, 2 was money, 3 was lack of communication, which is kind of going to coincide. Yeah, they have constant arguing as 4, weight gain as 5, 6 unrealistic expectations.
I like that kind of ties into ours too.
To an extent, yeah. And 7, lack of intimacy. 8, lack of equality. 9, not being prepared for marriage. And 10, abuse. But we feel like, and I just don't want to speak for myself, but we feel like one of the biggest issues in marriage starts way before you even get married.
Right.
You want to kind of explain that a little bit more?
So we've talked about this before, but we've been talking about it recently.
Oh, now we can go eat. We can eat.
Okay. But you're going to make me talk so you get to eat first. Yeah. I see how it is. Okay.
Lack of equality.
So you guys will know what we'll be talking about in our next video. But what we've been talking about lately is how differently we were raised affects how we approach marriage and how we approach different situations. Now that you have a mouthful of food, I'm going to let you talk about your childhood. Take a long time so I can get some good bites of alligator.
Let me get a drink. So, I was raised in a single parent household. I was raised by my mom. I had 2 other siblings. And I'm going to start with kind of like prior towards like what we struggle with in marriage and why that may be considering our childhood. So one of the biggest things that we probably argue a lot about is cleanliness. Not necessarily cleaning up after yourself. And that, in my childhood, like my mom, I mean, of course she stressed cleanliness. Like our house wasn't just looked like a zoo or something, but she probably worked between, I would say, 10 to 12 hours a day. Yeah. She still had to cook. She's for 3 big boys, so she had to cook and clean, and after work, get us from to and fro practice and activities. So she had a lot on her plate. So like, it's gonna sound, I don't mean sound it in a bad way, but like she had to let some things slide and go. Right. And a lot of times that would be how clean the house would be. Like the living room, the kitchen, that would be taken care of because that's like where, if you walk in somebody's house, that's the first things you're gonna see. So that would be pretty. It would get out of hand sometimes, but that would be something that we really had to take care of. But when it came to our rooms, that's when it could kind of look jungle-ish. If that's a word. I don't know if it is, but yeah, it could look kind of crazy in there. And, you know, she would get on to us about it, but it would kind of be like...
Eventually the door would just get
closed.
closed.
Eventually it would be like, well, if she doesn't see the mess, then... So, you know, our closet may have a dirty clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may be hidden under the bed, or we just close the door. So, that oftentimes factors into our marriage.
Because my parents were and are the complete opposite. So I had both parents, still have both parents, and 2 other siblings are in the house. I have 2 older half siblings. But I live with my twin brothers that are younger than me, and I love them. But my parents are neat freaks. We would have cleaning parties, so once a week. I think they were usually Sunday nights, I feel like, or maybe Mondays. It was Monday nights, because I would watch Dancing with the Stars while I cleaned my room. And we each had to clean our room, like dust, wipe down everything. And then our own bathroom when we were older. And then we would help with like dusting and mopping the rest of the house. So it was like very much a family effort. Like everyone pitched in, everyone got it done. We probably did a load of dishes like at least once a day because you have 5 people eating. And at one point there was, 2 teenage boys in the house, so we did like a load of dishes every day. My mom did laundry, like at least 1, usually 2 loads of laundry every night. Like, so everything was just like constantly on top of, they're just constantly on top of everything all the time. They're like sticklers about how their yard looks. Like, my mama's yard be looking good. Like, she'll mow twice a week to make sure her yard looks good. So when you go from that, and then, most of you know, I don't think we've said it before, we didn't live together before we got married.
No.
So, all of a sudden you move in with someone, and I lived with my parents until I was married. So I went from like, and even as an adult, like my room had to be clean. My mom, I'm a pile person. Like I'll have a pile of something, but I can tell you almost everything that's in that pile. Mm-hmm. But that did not fly in like my mom's house. So literally overnight, I went from that to living with Stuart, who's very chill about everything. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. And when the trash can is overflowing, which in his defense, his apartment was like on the back side up story, so it was like really far from the trash can, so it was kind of really annoying. But still, it's a big shock. Big adjustment.
You over-exaggerating. You're over-exaggerating.
I'm not.
Nah, it's true. I'm the type of person where I'm not gonna clean the dishes until like I'm clearly out of bowls and spoons and plates. And then I'm like, I'll probably like just clean 1 dish to get through the night. and then eventually like the sink. And then
I would come in on the weekend and I would do them.
Yeah, the sink would be full before. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would go to his apartment on Saturdays, and while he was still working, I would like pick up for him.
And that really affects us in our marriage because it's like sometimes like you can be that person who wants to be clean, like in her case, and then it's like when after a while, it's after the trash is piled up, the dishes is piled up. I can see how eventually it's kind of like, you know what, screw it. Like, I'm not about to just be clean up after somebody who's grown. Especially now that we have a kid, it's even more so.
Right.
Now you're having to clean after 2 kids.
And it's bad because I've gotten bad because now I'm more lax.
Yeah.
I've been pulled to the dark side, so now it's...
Dark? Really?
The messy side.
There we go.
Okay. I've been sucked into the messy side. Because like you said, it's kind of, you eventually get to the point where, you're like, what's the point? And that was a big part when we were first married, I remember. Because, like I said, on Saturdays I would go and I would because he wasn't working, or he was working and I wasn't working. So I'd go and kind of like tidy up, try to pick up, like fold some laundry, and be helpful. But then whenever you move in, and I don't think you ever really expected me to do. You never expected me to do it.
No.
I was just trying to do it to be helpful. And then I was trying to keep that standard up once we did move in together. But now, this is Sunday through Saturday, and I'm working at least 5 of those days, So sometimes, with band, sometimes I was working 6 days. So now I'm the one who's worked, and I'm still having to come home and clean up the mess. Right. So that was a big deal. Which also kind of ties into the expectations, because I said I was still trying to have that expectation that I had before. And also, if you've ever met my mom, she's pretty amazing. Like, everything. And so I was trying to be super mom like her. Which is funny is because I still remember we'd get in these, matches, because I'd be so frustrated that I was, like, failing and doing a terrible job. And he's like, I never said anything. Like,
right.
I never complained about the messes. I've never complained about the laundry.
Or even if I complained about it, I didn't, blame her or say you need to fix it. Just, that was the expectations she had for herself. It had nothing to do with me.
Right. So,
that's how it really does have an effect on an everyday basis on our marriage.
I feel like I still kind of fight that, and it's funny because, it's never, he's never said anything to me. My mom has never been you should do, literally, it's all coming from me being you need to be as awesome as your mom. Which is really hard to do. How are your nachos, my dear?
They're scrumptious.
Would you like a bite of some fish taco or alligator taco?
I'll take one bite. It has really good flavor.
And the last time I had alligator was kind of chewy. This is chewy. It's really good. Good job, Uncle Bucks.
Tastes like chicken.
Okay, so...
I'm black, so everything tastes like chicken.
Yep.
I can't say that?
Oh.
Oh, I thought I could say that.
Okay, so...
We edit it out. No, we're not.
Can I try a nacho?
Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
Is that cheese? Or is that, sour cream? Okay. I want some brisket. Come here.
I'm struggling.
I am struggling. Okay.
So, number 2 issue. I'll probably say technology.
Yeah. So, tie it back into, explain what would happen when you would come home when you were a child.
Child.
Or not child, I guess you were, a preteen, teen. When you still lived at home.
The only extracurricular activity I was ever involved in was sports. So I played football up until my sophomore year in high school. And I played basketball my whole life since I was 5. But outside of that, say I got out of school at 3:45 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I was in the practice till, let's just say, 5. When I got home, it was me and my little brother, and we were playing video games. Pretty much that was what it was, video games, maybe watching TV. And that's just kind of how I grew up. I didn't really, I had friends at school, but I didn't really hang out with my friends outside of school. My best friend was my little brother, so we would literally come home and play video games until it was time to go to bed. And then you even fast forward to when we were dating. I had moved out of my mom's house, so I had my own apartment, and I was working 10-hour days every day. I was at the post office working 10-hour days every day. So I would work from 6 in the morning. No, it was maybe more. I would go in at 7.
7, yeah.
And I'll probably get off. I'll get off at 6.
6. You were 11-hour days.
You gotta take out the lunches. I mean, I was working that long, but
right. But he was gone for you were gone for 11, 12 hours at a time. I was
gone for 11, 12 hours at a time. And so, I've been walking all day on my feet, so it's when I got when I got home from work, it was kind of full relaxation mode. It was eat, and I'm about to be like a bear and just hibernate. But hibernation wasn't just sleep. Most of the time, You know, it was on my tablet or playing video games from the time I got home to the time I went to sleep. Rinse and repeat that for what?
4 nights or 6 nights a week.
But how long? I probably was. It was a year before, a year, no, 2 years before we got married.
Something like that.
Yeah, so you do that for
2.5, I think.
2.5 years now. You're developing that habit.
Right.
So like, literally to this day, like when I get home, and again, I'm naturally a loner. So like when I get home, sometimes it's like from work, it's kind of like I need to just be by myself for a while.
Right.
But oftentimes that's bad now because we have a kid. So like I can't just be on my phone all the time. That's rude. But I still struggle with it. You know, not video games. I don't play as much anymore. But just being on my phone, looking at YouTube or something, I have a bad habit of doing that, and that affects just how we spend the quality time with her and my son.
No, right, yeah.
So,
whereas we were pretty far opposite. I'm trying to remember. At one point, my brothers got, I think, a PS4, and then whenever we moved, the other one got an Xbox.
Probably would have been PS3.
Or that's what I mean, yeah, PS3. One had or actually I think it was a 2 actually. But one had a PlayStation, or they shared a PlayStation at first. And then, but we didn't play often, and mostly it was like when the weather was bad. And then whenever they got their own rooms, I think the other one got an Xbox or got another system to like watch movies like for bed. And when especially I was like little, we played a lot of board games. A lot of crafts. Like this magical pantry. It was deep and it was big, and it was like mostly just like crafts and games and all the fun stuff.
But you would play that with, not to interrupt, but you would play that with both of your parents?
Well, my dad worked nights, so it was my mom.
See, that's another thing, like, since my mom worked so much and still had to cook and clean and all that, like, she was so tired. And you don't really realize this stuff till you get older and you start to work a lot. And you're like, oh, she had to do all that by herself?
Right.
I get it now.
Right.
I get why she didn't sit in the floor and play games with us and take us to the park and stuff. Like, she was literally exhausted.
Right. But your mom was awesome in a whole, but it was just a different way.
She had to be
superwoman. Awesome.
She had to be superwoman just so we could maintain and live in a good neighborhood and live a decent life and have money and shoes and clothes on our back. So it's like, I played AAU basketball pretty much my whole childhood and got to travel the world, already U.S. So like, to maintain all of that, she had to be superwoman on a day-to-day basis to where
she had to sleep sometimes.
Yeah, she just didn't have the energy. Like, she didn't have the energy to do all of it. So like, a lot of times we were kind of left to our own devices.
Right.
No pun intended.
I didn't even catch that. But so my dad worked tonight, so he would pick us up from school, and then we'd go home and he'd cook dinner, and then my mom would get home and we'd all eat dinner together, and then he would go to work, and when it was nice, like we had bikes from as soon as I always remember having a bike, and we'd ride at the park and do all that. So we didn't even a lot of I feel like a lot of times when we had TV on, we were watching like old Disney movies, like the classics, or we would each rotate like a different movie, that we like would watch. I have like The Wizard of Oz completely memorized thanks to one of my brothers, because that was his movie. So every 3 nights we had to watch Wizard of Oz. But and also I think another big thing too is that I'm just like realizing is because like my parent, like we only had like maybe 2 hours max, an hour as a family together. Like that was like the goal. Like as soon as my mom came home, we were all at the dinner table, like we were all spending as much time as possible. So I'm used to, like, I grew up with, you walk in the door, everyone's telling you hi, and you're catching up, and you're cramming it all in, like, right then. Well, then you marry someone who who isn't used to that, who's a loner, who, he wants to decompress when he comes home, and here I am, like, tell me everything about your day. I need to know. Let me hug you.
Get out of my face.
Right. And so, so that was something that we had to definitely, adjust. And I think we're still kind of finding compromise as we move, as we, go through different stages.
And it's the small thing, like she said, like, if they sat at the table and ate dinner, no.
Right.
Like, we would literally eat in our room, or we would literally eat on the couch, and, I mean, it wasn't like we're all sitting down and eating together and being like on the, traditional, sitcom where it's like, hey Bob, how was your day?
Like, which that was was my house.
How did Bob treat you today at the job? And
right,
like we didn't have that. Like, and then, like, again, it was because, like, my mom, like, she, like, let me get off my feet and let me get some rest.
Right, because she had to get up and do it all over again the next day. But yeah, so that's when I said I just feel like we still kind of are. Like, for them, I mean, obviously it's much better, but there are certain times where we've learned to communicate about it better. Like, whenever I'm like, hey, like, like, I need more communication. Then there's times when he's like, hey, like, I need more space.
Right.
And we are constantly trying to find that balance. So, which also kind of ties into that. Our other big one that is probably the biggest one we argue about is affection.
Yeah, that's number one. That's by far and large number one.
I'll go first this time. So, like I said, you come in the door, you get a hug. Everyone hugs whoever comes in the door. And then we catch up about your day. All that good jazz. When I left my mom's house today, I think I told her bye and got like 3 hugs and kisses. And I still remember, which we still do it sometimes, heck. But especially whenever, I drive off to college, she'd hug me. And one of us will go to pull in and the other will be like, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. She'd sit there just, bear hug me. Tell me, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. And keep hugging me. So obviously, like, I'm a pretty affectionate person. Like, I really like hugs, y'all. Like, I need a good hug every now and then. Stuart, how do you feel about hugs?
They're icky. No, but seriously, like, it's weird because, like, I forgot when I talked to my mom, like, it was a while back, but it's weird because, like, my grandma, rest in peace, she was affectionate.
Really?
Like, it was like you were going to give her a hug and give you a kiss. I even remember as a kid being like, oh, do I really have to? I think naturally that's just who I am.
Right. You're just not a touchy person.
Yeah, but she was naturally, like, she was affectionate to all, at least I know to her grandkids. I believe my mom said she was affectionate to them too. But it's like, my mom, on the other hand, wasn't really all that affectionate, even to this day.
Yeah, she's not a super touchy person.
She is with the grandkids. Right. But, like, with me and my brothers, like, Kayla tell you, we go over there every Sunday for, like, family dinner. And
sorry. Technical issues. Our light died, so that's why it looks a little different now. But we still want to go ahead and wrap up this video since we're on our last point. But we're talking about we go to your mom's every Sunday.
Yeah, but even then, like, like, I'm used to with her parents, like, if I walk in the house, it's like everybody is, like, getting their hugs prepared, and it's like, hey, you got to acknowledge everyone and give everybody a hug. But my mom is like, hey, Mom, what's up?
Right.
And it's not
half time I'm napping, and I'm just like...
Right, it's not a lack of love. You never get that feeling. It's all love.
Right.
But just shown in a different manner. Like, we're not I'm getting off the phone with you every time. It's, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm not getting off the phone until you say I love you. Like, nah, it's not that.
Right.
Like, and we don't, like what they say. I can't think of it right now, but it's like, what's known, like, you ain't got to be said or something. Like,
yeah.
Like, you just know it. So it's like, I didn't grow up with that, walk in the house and give your mama a hug and a kiss. And there's one story that, to this day, like, still holds some, like, it holds it's a memory that I kept. When I was playing AAU basketball, like, most of the time, people's moms went on a trip with them. And so, like, we would be in the gym getting ready for our game or whatever, and the other moms would, like, walk in, and all their kids would, like, run to them and give them a hug and acknowledge them. And so they would do that, and then I would just be, like, doing my own thing, like, stretching and stuff. And they was like, dang, you just treat your mama like that? And it's just like, we that's just not how we
their
were.
personalities. It's not
right.
like lack of love. I mean, no, like I totally feel like loved by his mom, and you know, like, and we know that like she loves the snot out of our son and stuff. It's just their family just shows it differently, right. And so we've had to learn to communicate. Like that's something we still like are constantly communicating. Like,
like even
how
do
you feel about
even with my brothers? Like it's a and every now and then I love you, bro, but it's not like a constant always all the time.
Right.
And it's like we rag on each other, like that's just what we do, but it's all love. Like I do anything for them. If they call me right now and say, "Hey, I need you to come bail me out of this situation," it's like, "Hey, what's up?
They're there.
Where we at?" But it's just the affection part is not in our nature in a sense, and so like we struggle with that because it's like if I walk in the house, she wants a hug.
Yeah, I said my first reaction is like hop off the couch, give him a hug, ask him about his day. Like, that's not his reaction to want that. So they definitely, I said it all goes, I think, back to that, you know, expectations and communicating those expectations. Because I said now, you know, like there's times where like, you know, if I'm in a certain mood and I'm like, I need a hug. You know, there's times where he's like, I really just need some space.
Right.
And we've had to learn to like really communicate on our needs in that aspect. So.
Yeah. So like again, I think the point of this video is kind of like, I guess it's for people who are married. You probably can understand, and you probably know, and you probably go through some of this stuff. Where it's just like how you grew up definitely affects. One, it definitely affects how you communicate with your partner, and it also just affects the day-to-day existing with your partner. Like,
right.
You may be a loner, so it's like your wife is like somebody who constantly needs somebody to talk to, and it's kind of like her voice is literally like screeching like nails on a chalkboard.
Right.
I didn't say you. I was speaking in
about
general
their
terms.
wife. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See.
Okay.
But that's just how it goes. Like how you grew up, and it plays a huge. It's probably the most. It probably plays the biggest part in your marriage on a day-to-day basis, you know. And that's just kind of what this point of the video was. It's kind of gives you examples of why that is true.
Right. And I feel like a lot of those the problems on the list probably a lot of those would tie back to.
Yeah, because even if we wanted to get deeper into it, even let's just take the number one, infidelity. Like if you grew up, I'm about to say something inappropriate. Don't. But if you grew up
where that was the
being
norm.
promiscuous throughout your childhood and even early adulthood, and then all of a sudden you do meet this person who you consider to be the love of your life, you develop habits. So like you're used to being on the prowl and going to go get something. So it's like that doesn't just turn off because you found this fabulous person.
But even like finances was once like, you know, we were both really blessed that our parents lived within our means. So like that was always modeled for us. So
and I think we both can say it was modeled for us, but we also we embraced it in a sense.
Right. Yeah. Right. But I'm trying to think of some of the other ones on the list. But yeah, I feel like a lot of those would, you know, go back to.
A lot of it, most things I feel like most things in your marriage can be contributed to just kind of how your upbringing / your early adulthood before you met that person.
Right.
You develop a lot of, I would say, habits. Depending on how you look at them, you could say bad habits. But you develop a lot of habits that affect your day-to-day marriage. And yeah.
The next thing is, like I said, we a lot of constant communication. Said we're only on year 3. We've been together almost 6 years. We've been together, but married for a little over 3. So it's constant communication and constant. Because I said, I mean, just different seasons of life, things.
Yeah, you got to constantly adjust and constantly communicate what it is that you value and what it is that you expect, and just kind of hash it out from there. But yeah, that's kind of what we wanted to discuss.
If you have any thoughts, leave them for us in the comments. We'd love to interact with y'all. Anything else?
Let us know if you have certain things that you think pertain to your marriage. Just let us know. We want to start getting a little bit more comments and feedback.
Yes, definitely be more interactive. So,
yeah. So,
then said, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That's all. So, then once again, thanks for
Ballin with the Ballards.